Yo, what's up? What's up? This is Dr. Little John from a G perspective. I've had a lot of things that I've wanted to say this time that I've been away. A lot of things that I've noticed. And I really want to, this is something that's really been on my heart that I've been wanting to say and I've been wanting to discuss. And that is, what type of men are you raising? And that's in a sense primarily to my sisters, but it's also to some fathers as well, because I'm seeing some young folks, man, especially some young men, young boys. And I'm wondering, are the people around them taking any consideration towards the type of men that they are raising? Are you raising young men that will defend your daughters? Are you raising young men that will defend their wives and children? Are you raising young men that will defend you in your old age? And when I say defend, I'm not just talking about having the courage, but also the skill set to put up the best fight. And what brings to mind is I look around and I see a bunch of young dudes. They're not at the pool, they're not at the beach, but yet they got on shower shoes or flip-flops. Unless you've been taught or trained that your feet are like God, you shouldn't be out in public like that. You shouldn't even be taught to be out in public like that, especially young black men. You know, it's cool that we have friends from other backgrounds and other races and other groups, but don't get it twisted into thinking that their folks give a damn about you just because you got a friendship with this individual. Learn how to differentiate. Learn how to separate a one-on-one relationship with how the world or how a greater group of people may feel about you. Don't be naive. It doesn't mean that you allow that to stop you from doing your life, but it also means that I'm not the one. If I ever get into a conflict with somebody and they don't have, whether I prevail or not, those toes and feet are targets. I'm going to try to break one of those. But irrespective of that, or irregardless to that, I ask you again, what type of young men are you raising? People are misconstrued, have ignorance to believe that just because we don't live in a world where there are lions and wild animals and marauding bandits, that there is no need to raise strong young men. We're not raising strong young men just for the everyday situation and scenario. In our modern times, those scenarios are less frequent. They're not non-existent, but they're less frequent. But just because they're less frequent doesn't mean that he shouldn't be prepared. Because as long as it happens to people, as long as it happens to humans around them within your environment, that the potential for it to happen will happen. And the only way you can say it won't happen to me is to say that because I'm taking precautions, because I'm prepared. So once again, what type of young men are you raising? Are you raising weenies? Let's look at this concept. And a kingdom, a king, he would have his offspring, princes. One day they will rule the kingdom, the nation. So throughout their upbringing, they fall up under the tutelage of the greatest masters from each skill set throughout the kingdom. It doesn't mean that they'll become an excellent horseman, but it means that at minimum, they'll be proficient at horsemanship. They'll be proficient or above at swordsmanship. They'll know math, arithmetic, science. They'll have an understanding for the history of the kingdoms and peoples and tribes around them. They'll be taught diplomacy. They'll be taught manners. They'll be taught how to greet and receive dignitaries. He'll understand about carrying himself in a dignified manner, to give respect to the kingdom, to make those who come want to be in alliance, not at war. Like, man, I see they got it going on. I want a part of that. Create alliances through marriage or through business or through trade. So those young princes would be schooled by the masters of all the nation. Those young princes would be schooled by the masters, by the best that their nation had to offer, in contention of them ruling the nation. So once again, I ask you, what type of men are you raising from out of your young princes, your sons? Will they be defenders of your daughter, of their wives, of their children, and of you? But not only will they have the desire and the courage, but will they have the skill set? Will they have the temperament? Stop raising weenies. Irregardless of a modern time, things still happen. You could hear a bump in the night. Who's getting up? Your daughter? His wife? He should have a compelled sense to get up and understand that he has the ability to deal with anything that has intruded upon his. We have disasters and accidents and incidences that occur in modern times. He has to be raised with the courage and the fortitude to step out there. He has not only understand it is required of him, but it is his duty, but also that he is prepared to take point. Take point means that I'm willing to accept the brunt of any frontal force to defend my women and children, my elderly. And I say this not, those sons, they need other sons that will form alliances and groups with them and will understand this concept. There's an old saying, evil prevails when good men do nothing. I ask you again, what type of young men are you raising? Especially with our folks, man. Our boys shouldn't be weenies. And they shouldn't be sloppy. They should be warriors. They should look like warriors. And people should see them and be envious because I want to be like them. I wish I had their genetic line. I wish I had their minds. It's just something to think about. What type of young men are you raising? That's from a G perspective. That's from the heart. Appreciate your time. Dr. Little John from a G perspective. Peace. I'm out. Subscribe, hit that thumbs up. This is Dr. Little John from a G perspective. Peace. I'm out.